Hasta Shrimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadodayam Udirayet Nasta Praeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Tama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16, Verse 12. So, as you might remember, Prthu Maharaj is being glorified right now. So, this is one of the verses in that series. Antar Bahischa Bhutanam Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina Antar Bahischa Bhutana Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina Antar Bahischa Bhutana Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina. Please chant. Antar Bahischa Bhutana Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina. Antar Bahischa Bhutana Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina. Antar Bahischa Bhutanam Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vaishnavis.
Antar Bahischa Bhutanam Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina. Anyone else? Antar Bahischa Bhutanam Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina. And the Vaishnavis want to do before I go ahead?
Antar Bahischa
Bhutanam Pashyan Karmani Charane Udasina Ivadyaksho Vayur Atmeva Dehina. Word to word. Antaha internally, Bahi externally, Cha and Bhutanam of living entities, Pashyan seen, Karmani activities, Charne by spies, Udasina neutral, Iva like, Adhyaksha the witness,
Vayu, the air of life, Atma, the living force, Eva, like, Dehinam, of all the embodied. Translation. So I'll read, you can repeat after me. King Prthu will be able to see all the internal and external activities of every one of his citizens. Still, no one will be able to know his system of espionage. And he himself will remain neutral regarding all matters of glorification or vilification paid to him. He will be exactly like air, the life force within the body, which is exhibited internally and externally, but is always neutral to all affairs. And then we also have the next verse. I'm just going to read the Sanskrit and the translation. Nandanyam dandayattesha sutam atmadisamapi dandatyatmajam api dandyam dharma patestita. Since this king will always remain on the path of piety, he will be neutral to both his son and the son of his enemy. If the son of his enemy is not punishable, he will not punish him. But if his own son is punishable, he will immediately punish him. Purport. These are the characteristics of an impartial ruler. It is the duty of a ruler to punish the criminal and give protection to the innocent. King Prthu was so neutral that if his own son were punishable, he would not hesitate to punish him. On the other hand, if the son of his enemy were innocent, he would not engage in some intrigue in order to punish him. Om Gyantamrindasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Mritanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatara Vishakripa Sindhideve Vachapatitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnava Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the verse, I'm going to read the verse again quickly. King Prthu will be able to see all the internal and external activities of every one of his citizens. Still, no one will be able to know his system of espionage, and he himself will remain neutral regarding all matters of glorification or vilification paid to him. He will be exactly like air, the life force within the body, which is exhibited internally and externally, but is always neutral to all affairs. So here's King Prthu. Yeah, I was thinking, here's somebody who knows everything about you. And, and he knows exactly what you think of him. And I was trying to put myself in his shoes, saying, what if I knew what everyone thought of me? Can you imagine, your spouse knows everything, what you're thinking about him or her? Or you know everything that your spouse is thinking of you, all the time. Imagine what kind of a world that will that be. And so Prthu Maharaj is in that state. He knows everything. He knows what others are thinking of him. And it's described in the Bhagavatam that he's like the life air inside people. It's almost like there's no privacy. He knows everything. But since he's the incarnation of Godhead, he's actually able to be neutral. For us, if we knew, oftentimes we do know how people think about ourselves. We hear through the grapevine sometimes, so-and-so person said this about you, Prabhu. And oftentimes my service is at the Krishna House, I'm the president there, so oftentimes I hear things about me, and people come running to me to inform me about things. They say, oh, Prabhu, did you hear what this Prabhu did? Did you hear what this person said? And so forth. And my joke is, do you think my name, Srutisagara, Ocean of Hearing, just happened to be, by chance? No, I hear everything. Of course, I'm supposed to hear about Krishna, but I end up hearing everything. So, Prthu Maharaj is in a place where he knows everything. And for us, if we know everything, how tough it is for us to be neutral in that state. When we know that this person, either we know by second-hand evidence or so forth, we might know that maybe this person doesn't like me or so forth. Maybe I heard this person said this or that about me, or maybe this person glorified me. Maybe I think that this person actually really likes me, and I can tell him or her to do whatever, to do something, and they will do it. I have that assumption. So if we have that mindset, imagine how difficult it would be for you to be neutral, for us to be neutral in those circumstances. When we have perceived certain images, certain things beforehand, and so forth, it's just so difficult. But here's Prthu Maharaj. He knows exactly what this person in front of him is thinking about him, or has thought about him, or is going to think about him when he says something to him. But still, as stated in the next verse, he is able to act justly. He's able to be fair to that person. You just think for a second, like somebody who might have vilified you in the past, they come to you, they ask for something, they ask for a favor or so forth, and they might have the right to do so. But for us to be neutral, it's so tough. Personally speaking, it's tough to set aside my ideas about the person, set aside my biases, my negative or positive biases, and to think that actually no, the right thing for me to do is this and this. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad for this person. This is the right thing to do, and I should do it. That's more to goodness. Where goodness, sattva guna just means knowing the right thing to do and being able to do it. Sattva can also mean illumination. When there's illumination, you see things for what they are. So Prthu Maharaj is able to do what he's supposed to do. If his own son is punishable, he punishes him. If the enemy of his son is not punishable, he doesn't punish him. And it's interesting, Prabhupada's language, I just noted it actually. Prabhupada in the purport said he would not engage in some intrigue in order to punish him. So he didn't do any politics, to go around, punishing someone. So that's Prthu Maharaj's mood, and that's his stature, that he is able to be just and fair to everyone. And people know about this. When people know that Prthu Maharaj or a king or an administrator or a leader or a manager or so forth is just, what do you think they feel? How do they feel? What do you think? How does someone feel? Go ahead.
Secure.
They feel secure. What else? How would they feel? Anything else? Any thoughts? Yeah, they feel secure. All right. Yeah, they feel secure. They feel safe. They feel like I can go and reveal my heart to this person. And this is not just in administration. This is in relationships, for that matter. I can go reveal my heart to this person. I can say, nicely. It's nice to say things nicely. And I can go reveal my heart to this person nicely, and this person will value it. This person will hear me out. This person will, think about it, discuss the issue with me, and will take appropriate action. And that's sometimes, that's rare to find in today's age. Where one has that faith in the other person, that yes, I can go share whatever's on my mind with this person. And there's only few friends we have in our lives where we can just go and tell them anything that's on our mind, and we know that this person won't judge us. And Krishna is one such friend, actually. Krishna is our ever well-wisher. We can go to Krishna and we can say, Krishna, I have all these desires, I have all these thoughts, I have all these things I've done, I'm not up to the standard, I'm not chanting 64 rounds, but I'm here to serve you. And there's no doubt that Krishna will accept us. There's no doubt that Krishna will see that spark, and acharyas, the spiritual masters, also have that mood. There's no doubt they will accept us for who we are, and that we are sincerely trying to make progress. And that was King Prthu's mood. He saw the sincerity in the person's intentions, and he valued that. And for us also, sometimes we do want to value people's sincerity, regardless of where they're coming from, whatever the background they're coming from, whatever baggage they're coming from. If we show that faith in people's sincerity, they will feel inspired. If we show them that, yes, it's amazing that you're sincere. It's amazing that you come forward and you revealed your heart to me. I appreciate the feedback. This is amazing. Then they will have so much more faith, and they'll be even more inspired to do more and more and more. Because they know that that this other person's got their back. They know that this person will always take care of them, as much as the other person can. So that's Prthu Maharaj's mood, and it's just a sweet mood to have actually in any atmosphere, be a family, be it an organization, or in friendships, any relationship. It's great. I love people who I know I can go tell them anything, in a nice way, and they will listen to me. So I have some friends like that. So it's actually valuable, and if we have people like that, we should actually cherish and value and appreciate that. So that's the key for good leaders. They create safe spaces. Good leader doesn't just mean that they provide. A good parent also doesn't just mean that they just provide. Like father, I make the money, I put food on the table, for the leaders, I provide everything. I've given, we fundraise and we have all the money, and what are you, whining about? That's not the mood of a good leader. A good person, a good leader, a good caretaker takes care. They value you, and they don't just necessarily, they provide, of course they provide, but on top of it, they provide this safe space. In the Bhagavatam, there's one such great leader who accomplished a lot of things. This leader was so powerful that the earth was scared of him. Later we're going to read how Prthu Maharaj had to go chasing earth and to make sure she gives enough resources. And then Mother Earth says, okay, I'll give milk, and so I'll give grains and milk. But there was another such leader whom earth feared so much that she was like, take all the grains, take all the jewels. The oceans were giving jewels, the cows were giving milk automatically, and all the demigods were worshipping him, and except for Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, everyone else was worshipping him. He didn't have to do anything. All he had to do was just glance at them, and they would just tremble in fear and provide everything. So he was providing. Everything was in abundance. There was nothing off. He was the best leader ever. Anyone want to guess what his name is? Hiranyakashipu. Now we all know who Hiranyakashipu is. Hiranyakashipu was a demon of high quality, as far as demons go. Actually, his son said, "Oh, best of the demons." That's how Prahlad Maharaj would often refer to him. "Oh, best of the demons." And so he was a great leader, great administrator. He won the kingdom from the demigods, and he held on to it, and he made sure everything's provided for, And so here's Hiranyakashipu, but he's really heavy. He's really heavy with the demigods. He's really heavy with everybody. He doesn't care how people feel. You ever come across a person like that? I have. You provide, but they don't care how you feel. You just get this done, get that done. If you don't get this done, get out of here, my way or the highway. So that was Hiranyakashipu. And in the Bhagavatam, it's explained that even though he was so good at everything, even though so good, he was providing, still, since he was overly chastising his dependents, it wasn't really, he wasn't making the cut of a good caretaker. So that was Hiranyakashipu. And his own son, Prahlad Maharaj, a 5-year-old boy, who was actually so envious of him. At a certain point, because Hiranyakashipu, he actually thought he's God. He wanted to be God. He wanted to be the supreme being, essentially. And Prahlad Maharaj just said, "No, you're not." This 5-year-old kid, it's Vishnu. and Hiranyakashipu, he would make everyone scared. Everyone's scared of him. But then he would look at this 5-year-old kid who he tried to kill, throw him off the cliff, had elephants run over him because this kid was a devotee of Krishna. So he just couldn't bear that. So he was doing all these atrocities to his own son. But Krishna always protected him, one way or the other. And then Hiranyakashipu was so bewildered. He actually, at that point, the whole universe was scared of him, but he was scared of his 5-year-old kid. He was actually scared of him at that point because he thought, I can do so many things to all these big personalities. I defeated the demigods. But this 5-year-old kid, nothing happens to him. So he actually asked him, where do you get your powers from? He actually asked him that question.
To which Prahlad Maharaj gave the best punchline, in my opinion, in the one of the best punchlines in the Bhagavatam. He said, the same place where you get your powers from Vishnu. And here Hiranyakashipu, he wants to kill Vishnu, he wants to take away, he wants to be the supreme person. And here's this 5-year-old kid, he's saying, not just me, but even you, even you, Bhavata Rajan, that even you get your powers from Vishnu. So I really like that line, actually. And he said it in a nice mood, of course. And because he always kept saying, oh, best of the demons, best of the kings, and so forth. And that's the real mood of a leader. That's how a person can really cultivate true leadership, true caretaking, when they understand that everything comes from Krishna. My powers come from Krishna. Your powers come from Krishna. A leader also understands that I'm not this body. They also understand that you are not your body. Sometimes, we say, oh, I'm not this body. I'm not my mind and intelligence. So whatever I think, I don't have to, it's just my mind. But you also have to see from the other perspective, the others also are not their bodies. So whatever fallacies they might have, you disregard that also. So Prahlad Maharaj, he had this deep understanding that actually everything comes from Krishna. Everything is from Krishna. And sometimes as leaders or managers or providers in general, one might, it's actually nice to provide. It's when it's someone's duty to provide and one provides, it actually feels good. As I took up my service at Krishna House as the president, there were many times where I actually had to provide. Somebody came up to me with issues or so forth. Somebody came up to me with requirements, and I provided. And I started noticing, this feels good, that somebody needs help, and I provide. And we all do that in our own circumstances. We all do that, as parents, teachers, managers, leaders, so forth. We all do that. We provide. And it feels good because that's the right thing to do. You provide when someone needs it. But, and that's the mood of Kshatriyas too. They provide, as administrators and leaders, we provide. But, perhaps she can, when you provide, Krishna also provides. So when we provide, we can have this fallacy in our minds that, oh, I'm the provider. I'm doing this. I'm the doer. This is my energy, And Prahlad Maharaj's understanding of the Acharyas is that actually everything comes from Krishna, And it's such a funny thing because, when one is in the mode of passion, they provide and they expect certain results, When one is in the mode of goodness, the mode of ignorance, you don't even provide. Mode of goodness, you provide, and it kind of feels good. You have this, I feel good about myself, I did the right thing. And now the fallacy of that is that, what do you think is the fallacy of that? When you think that, it feels good, I'm a good person. So what do you think can go wrong at that point for our spiritual life? Wait, one second, go ahead.
You feel that you're the doer.
You are the doer. All right, what else I heard here also? False ego flares up. Yep.
You're attached to the sense of happiness.
You get attached to the sense of happiness. That's a good one. Yeah. What else? Anything else? Yeah. You get attached. That's a really good one. You get attached to that sense of happiness, and and then you become complacent. That's a symptom of mode of goodness. You get proud. You could get proud, and you get complacent. So when one has that mood that I'm the provider, I'm doing everything properly, I'm taking care of these people, these are my people, these are my constituents, I'm the best president ever, then one can get really proud and complacent, And so that, I had that personal experience where I felt like, oh yeah, I'm providing, the provider. But, and then I try to check myself, actually, Krishna is providing. I'm just an instrument. And we have seen throughout our Vaishnava history, when we look back at our previous acharyas, and when you think about them, they all have done such amazing things. They have all done such amazing things. But their mood was always that I am the servant of Krishna. I am the servant of the servant. These people are here for me to serve them, not to lord over them. These aren't my subjects or my, as Gopal Bhattapuru pointed out yesterday, the staff. We have a staff here. He said, actually, there is no staff. We are servants, and we actually are serving these people who are helping us in serving others, So I often reflect about that in spiritual life, that in the regular outside world, in a materialistic organization, you get more skills. You build on your skill set, and then you go one notch over, and keep going onto the top and top and top, and then you keep doing that. But in spiritual life, it's a very opposite. We do increase our skills. One can say we start playing instruments, start giving classes. We do all that externals and all that. But internally, the more we realize that actually I'm supposed to serve everyone, the more one has that realization, and actually the more one really feels that actually Krishna is in control, Krishna can do whatever he wants with me and with others, and that I'm supposed to actually serve. The more that happens, the more Krishna gives us opportunities to serve. The more Krishna puts us in positions to lead and so forth. It's very interesting. The lower we go in our false ego, the lower we go in our ego, the higher we get in service. And because Krishna in our heart sees that. And the acharyas see it, and then they think, oh yeah, this is the person who should be doing something, but one has to generally cultivate that mood. Actually, I'm serving others. Really has to have that mood. Especially for leaders and managers, we just have to have that mood. That this is actually a service. I'm not getting paid millions of dollars for this, which is the truth. And so this is actually a service. And the thing is, we might not be getting paid in millions for it, but when we do service, we are getting paid in millions in spiritual wealth. One time I wrote a poem. Radhanath Maharaj used to come here for Festival Inspiration, and I was new in Krishna consciousness, and I would go with my little poem to Maharaj. Maharaj, I wrote a poem for you. And Maharaj, so he gets so many letters and all those things. Anyways, so there's one poem I wrote, and I said, where Lord Hari, where Hari takes everything, Krishna takes away everything, but then we have Krishna and so forth. And so it was kind of a sad poem, Krishna takes away everything, but we'll still serve Krishna. And then later in the evening, Maharaj was giving a talk, and then he sang the Mangalacharna. And within that Mangalacharna, he also sang one of the mantras for the prasadam offering. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Priyabhadayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namni Govata Shwe Namaha. Normally you don't say that in prasadam, in the Mangalacharna, never say that. And I had never heard Maharaj say that before also. But then he talked about it, and he said that the Goswamis, they had given up so much wealth. They had given up so much wealth. He said they had pools of wealth, just so much wealth. They gave it up to be servants. To be servants and mendicants in Vrindaban. But they got the highest wealth of spiritual instructions and knowledge from Lord Chaitanya. So, and then he looked at me and I said, oh, thank you. That was my answer, That, we might be servants. We might be servants. We might not have external wealth, but we have the highest wealth, the goal of human life, to be the servants of the servants of the servants. And that's the mood. That's the mood as a leader, as a manager, as an administrator, or any situation one can have. And it just makes the relationships amongst people so sweet. And that's what we have here with Prthu Maharaj. He had this nurturing mood, unlike Hiranyakashipu, who was also doing a good job, had all the wealth in the world, all the resources, at his fingertips. But he didn't have what Prthu Maharaj had. He didn't have what Prahlad Maharaj had. That strong faith that actually Krishna is in control, that Krishna is providing everything. He didn't have that. And so, as leaders and managers, we hear so many things, from about ourselves perhaps, there's so many instances where we have to confront others and so forth. But as leaders, we always have to inoculate ourselves with this deep philosophy and these deep realizations. And the more we serve, these realizations go deeper. There's so many things. One of the verses I was reading recently is in the 4th canto, and there's these siddhas who are praying to Lord Vishnu, and they said that just as an elephant who is disturbed by a forest fire goes to the river and feels nurtured, similarly, we go and merge ourselves in your pastimes and feel transcendental bliss. So as leaders, it's so important for us to nurture ourselves in this way. Because, believe it or not everybody likes everyone else. Yeah, I know, it might be surprising. Someone might think that, oh, I'm the best person. I'm the best person, everybody loves me. One might think that. But there's always that one guy out there who might not like you. Sorry to burst your bubble. But so, we have to have that strong foundation in Krishna. We have to have that strong realization that actually, my shelter is Krishna. It doesn't matter what others think of me. Because even with our best intentions, there's always, someone might not understand and so forth. But if we have that foundation that actually Krishna is my real shelter, that Krishna knows my heart and so forth, then we can be neutral towards everyone. Then we can just see things for what they are actually. And then we won't be being on the physical platform thinking, oh, what does he or she think of me? How should I behave towards them depending on how they think of me? But we understand, actually, no, I'm servant of Krishna. I am these people's servant, and let me serve them in the best possible manner, irrespective of how and what they think of me. And it takes a lot of depth to be able to do that, And I remember a personal example, if you don't mind me sharing. It was more so in my personal life. When I took up Krishna consciousness, my parents weren't very thrilled. Surprise. And especially coming from an Indian background, parents don't, especially they send you to America, you make money, beta. You make money, you get a good job, get a good house, so forth. And I was like, I love Krishna consciousness. Haribol, I'm gonna wear dhoti and kurta, which Indians don't really wear anymore in India anymore. It's like I'm gonna do all these things and be simple-minded and so forth. And my parents weren't thrilled at all. And then at one point, I was visiting India, and this was in 2012. And my mother said to me, and it was a tough time for us. So I'm not trying to get heavy on her, but it was just a tough time. And she was saying to me, your father is so materially wealthy. Your uncle isn't. And that's why their mother, your grandmother, loves your father more than your uncle. It gets better. Don't worry. So, as your mother, how could I love you if you are not materially successful? How can I do it? And I was like, okay. I guess that got really clear here, what matters in life, money. So I was like, I'm going back to America and be with Radha Vrindaban Chandra and be with Radha Muralidhar in New York, and Garnita in Gainesville. They're my well-wishers. So I came back and I was hurt. So our relationship dwindled over time, and it wouldn't, I would talk here and there, I wouldn't talk a whole lot. Because, how I knew what she was thinking about me. How Prthu Maharaj knows about what I was thinking. So it affected me. I'm not Prthu Maharaj, sorry. So it affected me. So it affected our relationship. I knew what she was thinking about me. And of course the mind goes into all these, oh, this person said this. That means they must be thinking this of me. They must be thinking that of me. So it affected me that way. And, years passed by, and then just recently, 2019, I was here for Satyananda Maharaj's retreat. And we had he had so many exercises, and we had a particular japa exercise, focusing on Krishna and so forth. And I was reflecting that so many things have happened in my life in the past 7 years. But throughout all that, I always felt that Krishna was there for me. I've succeeded in some things. I've failed at several things. But I always felt that Krishna was always there for me. That it didn't matter how much of a loser or of a success I was externally or materially. I always felt that I'm keeping up with the process of devotional service, and I feel that Krishna is always there for me. And I reflected on what my mother said. If you're not materially successful, how can we love you? And I thought, well, Krishna loves me. I know it. I know in my heart. Krishna loves me. Doesn't matter how fallen I am. And I felt that was amazing. Here's a person who actually loves me for who I am and for what all I can do. And I thought, I'm going to invest most of my energy in that relationship with that person, because Radha Vrindavan Chandra still love me for who I am, and as long as we are sincere and so forth. And what it did was, it made me think of my mother as a jiva. It made me think of my mother as a spirit soul. I thought, well, here's a conditioned soul. She's just conditioned. People are conditioned to think materialistically. So it brought out compassion in my heart for me. That, this is where she's at. What to do? All I can do is be nice to her and, be nice to her, irrespective of what she thinks of me. So I started calling her more, like, oh, how are you doing? Once a week I would call in then. And then our relationship grew, and then she became more accepting. At a certain point, I actually told her, this is what you had said actually 7 years ago. And she said, I don't remember saying that. I said, no, you did say that. So she actually apologized. And there was such a breakthrough. And I felt that because I was able to see that, yes, Krishna is my ultimate shelter. And that's why Krishna was, he just kind of cleared off all these various difficulties I had with my family, because I was able to say that Krishna is my ultimate shelter, and I wasn't seeking shelter of my mother anymore. I wasn't dependent on her for her validation anymore. I just saw her for just a person who has certain thoughts, certain desires, and so forth, and I'm just going to be nice to her as much as I can. I try, And so that was my intention, and it helped a lot. So similarly for leaders as managers or people with friends and families and so forth, when we have that deep understanding that actually our ultimate shelter is Krishna, and these people who are connected with us, all we can do is just to serve them to the best of our capability. That's all we can do, and we try our best. But they might like us, they might not like us. That's up to them, it's up to our karma, it's up to Krishna. But our deep shelter is simply Krishna. It's just Radha Vrindavan Chandra. And when we go in the world with that understanding, with that faith, then things don't affect us. Things really don't, actually. When we go in with that faith, we see how what people might say or think things of us, and we are able to go beyond that, and we are able to think of the welfare of that person. That's what it really means to be a leader. That's what it means to be an administrator. That's what it means to be a caretaker. That we are so grounded in our own Krishna consciousness, it doesn't matter what this person is saying to us. What we care about is what's good for this person. It's tough. I'm not claiming that I do it all the time. But that's the mood of a Vaishnava. They might be vilified, but they think of the welfare of that person. There's so many pastimes like that. And there's Haridas Thakur, where he was getting beaten up in 21 marketplaces and so forth. But all he was concerned about, when these big burly men, beating him up and trying to kill him because that's what the king told them to do. And then they were getting tired and exhausted, and they said, oh my God, if you're not going to die, the king's going to kill us. So Haridas Thakur was like, oh, sorry. I go, all right, I'm going to die for you. So he was concerned about them. That's the mood of a Vaishnava. It's amazing, actually. And we don't see this in the outside world. That's what's amazing about Krishna consciousness. That's what's amazing about our acharyas. That they have such compassion because they're so grounded in faith to Krishna. It's amazing. Yeah, and anyway, these are some thoughts and points on this verse. Yeah, do you have anyone else have any comments or thoughts on this so far?
Thank you for an extraordinary class. Is this working?
Thanks, Prthu, for coming. You're like my dad.
So I'm trying to distinguish between being at a Bhagavatam class and being in a leadership management class seminar. And I get it because that's the primary focus for most people. Thank you. But at the same time, this is a Bhagavatam class. So I had a question concerning, and I know when Prabhu was on the planet, a lot of things were more black and white.
Mhm.
Of course, ultimately, everything's gray.
Everything's what, sorry?
Gray.
Gray area? Yeah.
But recently I've seen some temples, and it's related to management. You know, I'm not stepping outside of the realm of
Mhm.
but we're, back in the day, almost nobody got paid.
Mm.
Prabhupada spoke volumes about the asset of nobody getting paid. You know, it was a strong point. We're all servants. And now you can see within ISKCON, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, we've gone into the place where many, many devotees do get paid.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to wrap my head around it and understand it. It's gotten to the point where some temples now, I hear many devotees are known as employees. Okay? And then also, and I just want to put this before you because you're all the future of our ISKCON, and I can see ISKCON's in good hands. It's something you might ponder as you go through your life. Is there a difference between paying a devotee a salary or paying a devotee a stipend?
Mhm.
When I grew up in ISKCON, when people started getting paid, it was always a stipend. And I know it's a subtle point that I don't fully understand myself, but it seems like it could make a world of difference within our heart and our mind, how we go forward, and how we push Prabhupada's movement forward.
Hmm.
So if you could say something or...
Say something about it. A devotional service is always from the heart. It's voluntary. It can't be based on an hourly basis, minimum wage, devotional wage. That's why Prabhupada didn't want it. He didn't want it because if it starts getting to that extreme, where it's like an hourly wage, then it can break that mood of devotional service. At the same time, we understand how there are devotees who want to dedicate their lives in the mission and preach and so forth. And it's not a novel concept. There have been ministers and pastors in other churches and so forth, and they get a stipend, and they go beyond what's needed. They go beyond, really beyond, what's needed. Prajananda's nodding here because he just became TP in Tallahassee, and I know he has like 12, 16 hours days, or even more. I hope not. But just all day long, for those devotees, they get a stipend so that there's some maintenance, so that when they move out of the ashram or so forth, it's not just, oh, thank you for your work, Haribol, Krishna will take care of you, It's just, that the mood is that, well, we want to support this person, to an extent for sure, yeah. But yeah, stipend just, for me it just makes sense that somebody gets a stipend for their regular maintenance and so forth, so that they don't have to now worry about, how am I going to do, save up money, whatever. Rather, they have some peace of mind and they do service as much as they can. It's a tricky point. I agree, it's tricky because when somebody does get a fixed stipend and salary, then it can become more corporate, and people can lose that giving from the heart feeling. Yeah. So it's a fine balance for sure. Yeah. Those are my thoughts. Do you want to say something for the Malati?
You really want me to say something?
It's always so nice to hear from you.
We have to take care of devotees. We have to take care of devotees. We expect some level of service from devotees. They have to be cared for. So however you want to determine or call it, they have to be cared for. But we were always taught, and I don't believe this has changed so far as the principle may have changed in people's minds, that enough to keep your body and soul together. In other words, for your needs, which may include the needs of your service, for example. You may need a car to do your service. Nothing wrong with that. I remember in Bhaktivinoda Manor, early 70s, and myself and another girl had been given a service by Srila Prabhupada to make sure that the deities were cared for, including financially, because he knew that was a difficult thing, and he actually told me to get a bank account for the deities and make sure that the money that went into that account would only be used for the deities. And Bhaktivinoda Manor is a kind of a rural place, so to get out and do any type of collecting or whatever had to be done to take care of the deities required a vehicle. So we got a vehicle. And my God, you would have thought we had, like, you know, broke our regular principle. Responses. But we just kind of ignored it and moved along, you know, it fell out of people's minds. I'm just saying that, you know, you have to evaluate the situation. My experience with the transition from a fully volunteer, so-called, to a paycheck temple has been kind of uncomfortable in certain areas because people have become caught up in the paycheck and not the service. Just like I came back from Govardhan to be here for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day, I specifically arranged my trip that way so that I would be here for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. 1 year I did the same thing to make sure I would be back for Goprini here. And I'd come back in late the night before, so in the morning, it was dark on some morning basis, and I found out that they'd run out of flowers. I thought, well, you can't have Goprini without flowers at the altar, you know. So I got in my car and I went and bought flowers, and I brought them back, and you know, I'm on major jet lag at this point, you know. So I go into the DD room, someone's coming out, and I said, oh, Prabhu, can you help me with these boxes of flowers, and can you help me make vases for the altar? I've already done my 30 hours. That was a very unfortunate consciousness. But devotees do have to be cared for. Now, if you think you need a new car, new iPad, new iPhone, yada, 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 every year, that's not keeping body and soul together. You know, so if that's what you want and you're not satisfied otherwise, better you get a job. Nothing wrong with that. Actually, in 67, San Francisco, all the brahmacharis got jobs. Small Krishna, Discourse, and the households, they got little jobs because we had gone through the, we were not ready to pay the rent, Krishna made a provision, but we really couldn't, you know, always rely on that. So willingly, I got jobs and turned the money over so that we would be able to pay the rent for the temple. Nobody thought that it was even an austerity. It's what we were happy to do to keep things going. So it's really a matter of individual consciousness, and I'm hoping that the individuals will, as far as they can, remain caught up in the spirit of serving Krishna and Prabhupada and his mission. I mean, nowadays sometimes you don't even have a choice. Managerially speaking, even like here, there's a human resource department. I almost gagged having to say that. We have a human resource department, not a devotee seva department. That's a legal thing. And it actually does great service. So a lot of things running smoothly, you know. It's just a question of the consciousness that goes into the activity and the expectations.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Yeah, Bhavanarabhur? Come on, Mike.
I just wanted to get the question again. It was understanding the difference between a stipend and getting paid, right?
Yep.
So I find myself kind of in this situation as well. I don't get paid a dime. I'm managing this temple and doing so many things. I think that for myself speaking, the younger generation, sometimes we hear older senior devotees feel hurt. You know, they feel like they've given so much of their life, and then, you know, I've seen many senior Prabhupada disciples that have given so much service to the movement, and they're in bad health, they have no health coverage, they have barely any finances to get by, or any sort of car, or barely can even put food on their table in their elderly age. So I think that's a certain situation within our movement that kind of scares the younger generation to go full force or to actually dive in with any sort of, without having any sort of expectation of some monetary gain. You know, I think about it myself all the time, like, if my wife wasn't working some little part-time job, where would my health coverage come from? Where would my dentist coverage come from? So I really like the point that you made, is just we have to be responsible to understand what is actually needed to keep mind and body together. So I would like to see within our movement practical courses on like financial stability. You know, I'd like to see professionals come in and teach us in a practical way of how to make a budget. You know, younger devotees, things like this, if we are willing to give our full-time service. And I think the temple should provide, if possible, if they're having younger devotees or devotees in general, full-time, they should provide some sort of insurance and health coverage. This is, you know, just a couple of ideas that come to mind, because there's a lot of fear within certain devotees of actually giving all they have because of these things. The future, you know, we're worried about the future.
Yes.
Ideal and reality. But it's either on the day of my initiation or shortly thereafter. So, Srila Prabhupada, I was initiated in January 67 in San Francisco. Srila Prabhupada told us that Krishna is taking care of the giant elephant and the insignificant ant. Why would he care for his devotee? That was it for me, and it still is. And again, I'm not saying excited as you should do that, but what I am saying is have a little faith, you know, because if you don't give Krishna the option of caring for you in certain ways, then okay, something you won't, but if you think you can do it better, you may be working harder than you need for something that's not so important, you know. But in my whole devotional life, if I didn't get what I thought I wanted, I quickly realized that I actually didn't need it, even if I thought it was for some kind of, you know. And in eras where I wasn't behaving emotionally and getting all kinds of things that I thought I needed, where was Krishna in the picture? Somewhere back there in the shadows. So let Krishna be visible in your life, and also be, you know, we have to be responsible. When I went to England, I had a 6-week-old kid, and we didn't have a return trip ticket. We didn't have a zip code for them to on the other side. I hadn't even heard about credit cards at that point in time. But somehow or other, we left this country, went to England, and you know, went through all kinds of trials and tribulations, but we had a mission, and we stuck to it. The mission fructified, and you know, none of us were irreparably damaged. And I think our lives actually became glorified through the effort. So give Krishna a chance.
Thank you for that point, Mother.
do what you need to be responsibly expecting for your security.
Yeah, and Krishna always provides one way or the other. And and there's so many devotees where they were taken care of one way or the other. And sometimes, yeah, it might come through the way of the managers, the GBC, whatever, coming together and thinking, actually, we want to have some system for taking care of devotees. We need not necessarily see that as separate from Krishna. Why would one think that this is not Krishna's arrangement necessarily? If the devotees still have that spirit of service, if we still have that spirit of service, Krishna is providing some resources one way or the other. Why would one think this is not Krishna's arrangement if that spirit of service is intact?
This is a small part of information. It's only GBC member. And a lot of people think we're thankful that we get all our computers, we get new computers. That doesn't happen. Each and every GBC member doesn't figure it out for yourself. How to get to the next meeting, how to get from the airport to the meeting, back again, etc., etc. And I mean, it's not ideal. And maybe one day we'll get that figured out too, So having ways and means. I know BBC members who didn't come to a meeting. This happens occasionally. They just don't have it, have the wherewithal to get to the meeting. So that doesn't really say a lot about we're supposed to be taught about all the management this stuff. We can't even get ourselves to a meeting. But, so it's something that's being worked out, I think, and that's part of what all of our future leaders will have to grapple with. And I don't think it's going to be one size fits all too, because you go into these different countries and different situations, and they all don't match. So we're here in North America, and I'm so happy that all of you have taken the time from your lives to put some attention into the future of this country by qualifying yourself. And I hope that you never regret this time. And I hope that you'll encourage others to follow in your footsteps.
Hi. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Great Srutisagara Prabhu ki. What a question. That's a good question he asked, huh?
Which one?
The one he asked. It's a good question.
The one he asked.
Because a lot of people think about that.
Yeah.